NiviCap is a fintech that focuses on the Indian students that are going to study to Australia. So we provide a one-stop digital platform through an app that is targeted towards um, the students itself and the parents. And that combines banking as well as non-banking services or products as part of the app. Parents who are sending their kids overseas to study. So given that is why NiviCap was formed. That was his sole inspiration behind. Combined with my banking experience. So I am an ex-banker with more than almost close to 2 decades now. I worked extensively. I started my career in Australia in banking. I worked in India as well in the Indian banking industry. So I sort of have that sweet spot of sitting across the two countries, also from a banking and a regulation standpoint. So the landscape is very sort of accurately or intimately is known to me. So the two-sided of the experience of a student life combined with banking was the sole inspiration of starting NiviCap. And given Australia is the backyard I now come from, is why the focus was to start off Australia and provide these sort of services. Because in India, any student who decides to go overseas, doesn't matter which country it is, the usual funding or the sign that they put on the loan agreement is always the parent. And therefore, we are focusing more on the parent as well as the child once they sort of gets on to Australia as a continue or to start their education journey. So that is the reason of the story behind how NiviCap started. And the reason for us coming to India and focusing on Australia and providing those niche services that we feel is a gap that is not being provided at this point in time, and that is where we want to sort of be at, is that experience of studying in Australia. The other sort of focus of what happens as I'm doing. Australia is now one of the top and a preferred destination for Indian students. And therefore, Indians by large have now the largest migrants in India, in Australia. And out of that, education plays Indian students. They make up to between 16 to 18% of the student population in India, in Australia. So Indians prefer Australia, and that is also because there's a lot of common shared vision and objectives between the two nations. Cricket obviously plays a significant role, Commonwealth, and there's a lot of other shared sort of vision and the objectives that both the nations share, and therefore Indians now are preferring Australia as a region to go strong. But again, when we come back to the actual challenges of pre-admission still exist. What we found out during our 1 year when we were building and doing our market research is a lot of students come from tier 2 and tier 3 towns in India, where getting a loan may still have the same challenges, like the plethora of options available on the table. Because India is a land of fintech, number one, also is very strong from a banking perspective. So the options on the table are very wide, which becomes often confusing. So there's a lack of clarity as to what is the right product I should choose, what is the right interest rate I should get, what are the associated products that I will need for my journey onward to Australia. So those are the current problems that still unfortunately persist. And that is the reason why NiviCap aims to be in that sweet spot of providing those sort of seamless experience. This is before even going to Australia. So once they decide on a country or once they decide on the university and the course, comes our role in the journey of a student's life and their parents' life. So those are the current sort of scenarios, and often any sort of loan or a financing involves a lot of anxiety, not just for a child but also for a parent, because they are the ultimate people who will be signing on the dotted line for loan agreement as either co-applicants or even main applicants. So, that's why we provide an end-to-end handholding to all the both the families as well as the child there. finally the motive and the vision that we've always been maintaining ever since we are in India is that we are not here to solve any banking or non-banking problems. We are here to solve an anxiety of a parent. That is our ultimate objective. Which means that the motto, the vision, and the values that we have is that one, we want to be fast. And the reason for that is usually what we've seen and what I've personally seen in my banking career is that everything comes down to the last minute when it comes to loans, especially. Because you need to apply for a visa, you probably get an admission from the university. The missing part is the loan application in between. And more often than not, the education term, which Australia has got two intakes, one in February, March, and one in July, August. So it's every 6 monthly sort of intake cycles. So kids often sort of run at the last minute to get a loan approved. तो वो हम गैप फिल करना चाहते हैं और वो इसलिए होगा पॉसिबल क्योंकि हम ऐप बेस्ड हैं और ऐप के ज़रिए एप्लीकेशन हमारा सारा कलेक्ट होता है, अप्लाई होता है और एप्लीकेशन के बाद जब लोन सैंक्शन लेटर और अप्रूव होता है वो भी मैनेजमेंट ऐप के ज़रिए ही होगा। तो इन्हें कहीं पर भी ब्रांच में जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं, आजकल सब कुछ डिजिटल है। तो ये ऐप ना सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स के लिए है बल्कि उनके पेरेंट्स के लिए भी है। सो द ऐप हैज़ गॉट an access where a parent as well as a child can open up an account and either apply for a loan or start an application.
No, thank you very much, Karthik, and namaste, everyone. Big Singh's Trade Investment Commissioner, posted in our consulate in Bangalore, looking after all our education and skills interests in the region. With me, I have Ms. Neha Grover, who is the Senior Director for Education across South Asia. For me, I'm delighted. And on behalf of the Australian Government, congratulations, Karthik, on this wonderful launch. We have personally been really supportive of Zixu, the fintech company, for many, many years now, and I'm delighted to see this launch finally coming to fruition and the services that it'll offer Indian students and parents. I represent the Australian Trade and Investment Commission, so our role as the federal agency for trade promotion and investment attraction. So it is honestly our absolute pleasure that we're able to support an Australian fintech to come to India. Now, as Karthik mentioned as well, selling tech to India is like selling ice to the Eskimos, right? India is the land of tech. So where we really fit in is these niche, innovative products and services that complement India's technology ecosystem, whether it is the kind of work that Karthik and the team are doing, whether it is what we're doing in cybersecurity and quantum training and so forth. Australia and India have probably one of the best bilateral relationships at the moment, and that sits across the fact that we've got what's called a comprehensive strategic partnership with India. We've also got the interim free trade agreement, or the AI ECTA, or ECTA as the leaders call it. That enables a lot of benefits for our companies on both sides doing business in India and in Australia, but it also has a huge benefit for students. And education is one of the central pillars of the relationship between Australia and India. Something like this will enable the thousands of Indian students that choose to go to Australia to study from India. At the moment, we've got about 140,000 students of Indian origin that are in Australia. And I think we're really delighted that a service like this will now enable more and more students to get easy access to the funds that they need to go overseas. I'm not sure whether we are able to talk about your brand ambassador. You're going to do the...
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
So you can mention it now. I've got a video that I'm showing.
Awesome. Well, Karthik mentioned sports. So we've covered a lot of the pillars of the relationships. Commonwealth, cricket and curry is what they used to normally call it because Australians love Indian food. We're all part of the Commonwealth and cricket is a shared passion. I'm of Indian origin, if you can't tell, but I have the advantage of sitting on both sides. So if India is winning, I cheer for India, and if Australia is winning, I cheer for Australia. So I can swing on both sides. Funny enough, I don't watch that much cricket.
It almost always comes down to the last minute, like a 160 km/h bouncer. no time to react. That's why I trust NiviCap, the one-stop digital platform for loans, forex and non-banking products designed for Indian students wanting to come to Australia. One-stop shop for all banking and non-financial needs of Indian students aiming for Aussie universities. So no hassles, lightning fast approvals, just the way I react to full tosses. Attractive interest rates, no sticky wickets, no hidden googlies. This is the letter I'll be giving her when she lands in Australia. Don't worry about money, just chase your dreams like I chase championships. Indian students, your Aussie degree shouldn't wait. NiviCap makes it happen. Fast, fair, family approved. Apply now.